Hey, how you doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. As I said earlier on, it's a work in progress, so I just want it to be a platform to where different types of discussions can be held, everything ranging from high-level leadership discussions to spiritual discussions to just some good old fun stuff. And, with the passing of Robert Redford, I've been getting a lot of stuff in my feed and from my friends. I should probably back up a little bit. I'm 58 years old, and I grew up, born in the late 60s, grew up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and still growing up, to be honest. But Robert Redford was, he was an icon. He was a leading man, and in my generation, the movie The Natural was one of the top 5 sports movies, arguably, of all time. And, in that generation, tough guys didn't cry. I was raised in that generation of real men don't eat quiche, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, tough guys don't cry, that whole thing, that if you took it way too seriously could lead to toxic masculinity, right? Fortunately, I didn't let it create too much wreckage in my life. Enough so that I definitely had to make some lifestyle changes, but I digress. Which means that we weren't allowed to cry. We weren't allowed to show any sort of softness or sentimentality or anything like that. But I always used to say with men, there was a couple different situations where as a man it was acceptable to cry, right? The Olympics during when USA wins the gold medal, right? At any sort of Super Bowl championship where these things are running, when your team wins the championship, it's all right, right? Or if you lose. But there are a couple of movies that were made that I consider guy cry movies, right? Where when you watch it by yourself, obviously not with your dudes, because with your dudes, if you let the tears show, you're going to get abused, right? But, I've been getting sent some clips from friends of mine from The Natural, and it got me thinking, like, what are my top 3 guy cry movies of all times? And it starts with Field of Dreams. In Field of Dreams, I can't even describe that last scene in Field of Dreams to someone who hasn't seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, where have you been? Without really working up and breaking down halfway through, now that I'm in touch with my inner feelings, right? The Natural, absolutely. I was sent a scene today where he's in the hospital and he's talking to the girl that he was dating back in the day, and it's a whole different story. But he's telling her, and he's sort of telling her how his life took a different turn. And then at one point in time, he just goes, "I wish my dad," and he can't stop the sentence. And my friend pointed out that scene gets him every time, and it gets me too. And so that would definitely be one of my number 2 guy cry movies. And the other one I would say would be the first Rocky. First Rocky is an amazing love story. I don't care what anybody says. In that scene when he wins and or he didn't win, but he did it, right? He did it. He stood toe-to-toe with the champ. He didn't get knocked out. He went the distance, and he's screaming out for Adrian. And, the crowd is rushing the ring. And Paulie's standing there, and she can't get on. Adrian can't get into the ring because the security's stopping her. There's police there, and Paulie just lifts up the ring rope, and she gets on. And there's so much going on in that one scene between the dynamic of this man who was considered a pug, a washed out boxer, getting a chance at the championship, getting a chance at redemption as a man and as an athlete, and then achieving what no one else had achieved, which is to go the distance with the champ. And then if you know the dynamic between Paulie and his sister, the tumultuous relationship they have, but in the end, he's going to look out for his little sister and let her in and sneak her in there so she can go up there and be with her man. And, it just touches upon everything. So, I leave it open for discussion. What are your top 3 guy cry movies? Leave some in the comments. If you like this type of stuff, please subscribe. Again, man, I'm just trying to make some friends out there in the virtual world. Get to know you, get to know me, and let's have some great conversations.